Good evening, Mr. Bond fans. Job interviews are tough, aren't they? All of the questions. What makes you think you're the best candidate for this job? Having to get all dressed up smart, having to roll around on a bed with Maud Adams. It's all just such a hassle. It's obviously no secret that over the decades, many actors have been considered for the role of James Bond, and arguably the most important step in the application process for the job is the screen test. And being Bond, of course, the screen tests are super professional setups, no mere actor talking to a webcam in a back room here. No, these are lavish productions in their own right, and despite us knowing about quite a few actors who have performed such tests for auditioning for the part, they are largely kept under lock and key. We've seen a still here and a clip there, but we very seldom have the ability to see the things in full, which means that the extra features on the Octopussy Blu-ray featuring some of these tests is really quite a bit of gold dust for Bond aficionados. In this case, the actor James Brolin was up for the part in the early 80s. Yes, the husband of Barbra Streisand and father of Thanos could have been the fourth official actor to play James Bond on screen. What's more, the actor actually agreed to do a short interview for the Blu-ray features, talking about how close he was to the part and all the process and stuff, which is really cool, and props to the guy for doing this. I mean, it can't be the most exciting or flattering of interviews to get the call for. Hey James, tell him the one about the job you didn't get. And yeah, Brolin talks about how he was spending a lot of time with producer Cubby Broccoli. He was in the process of looking for a flat in London to be there for the filming and such, but ultimately he ended up not getting the role because, of course, in big part, Sean Connery was going to be headlining a rival Bond production releasing that same year, and it was considered a safer bet to go with the established Bond star Roger Moore rather than try and use the opportunity to establish someone new in the part. And thus, Brolin did not get the part, but his screen tests are nonetheless a really interesting insight into the casting process. On the disc there are 3, 2 of which are standard for Bond actors. There's the love scene from Russia with Love and a fight scene, but there's also a scene on here with supporting actor VJ Amritraj, which is really cool, and honestly I think that should be a recurring requirement for every prospective Bond candidate. Like, they need to do a scene with VJ. So we've tested this actor, Daniel Craig. He did a really great job with the love scene, and we were really impressed with it. Alright, let's just cut to the chase. How did he do in the VJ scene? Perfect, he delivered the tennis pun about the racket better than anyone. Fantastic, tell him he's hired. So, how would Mr. Brolin have fared in the part? Well, we have pretty much 3 whole scenes to judge from, so let's put on our casting agent hats and dive right in. So the first scene we're gonna have a look at is the fight scene. Let's go.
There were 2 guys I was working with. I worked
Introduction.
For the picture, and then I worked after the test. We worked some together also. And they had certain things that they wanted me, and exercises and things they wanted me to do when I got home, you know, beginning to prepare certain muscles for certain things that I wasn't adept at, you know, yet.
That's something if they were training him already, like...
Hello.
He's in a turtleneck. Do love a Bond in a turtleneck.
Hello, you still there? Well, I had a little trouble with the line. Yes, it's been fixed now.
Huh. Nice! Not too bad. It's just occurred to me that my lockdown hairstyle is looking very James Brolin circa 1982, 1983, whenever this was. So that's my lockdown look, apparently. James Brolin's Octopussy screen test. Well, you know what? That was actually quite good. I thought he was very convincing in that. Obviously, there was some kind of... yeah, those kind of overblown sound effects, the kind of stock stuff for the punches and stuff, so that takes away from some of the believability of it. But certainly, I thought, you know, he's rolling around, he's throwing the punches, he's taking it quite well. I thought that was a very successful thing. And then at the end, like doing the smooth, like picking up the phone with the line, that was pretty good. I think that that's a very successful fight scene, actually. So next up, we have, I think this is the longest of the tests, we have the love scene. Now, I know that this is with Maud Adams. I'm not sure if we've got an introduction on this clip or not, but let's roll. Ah, in the tuxedo, of course. Can't have a Bond screen test without that. Is that his hand? Is it a rifle or something? Oh, it is. Oh, of course, because this is the scene from Russia with Love where he's just come back. Right, yes, to his hotel room. Maud Adams is going to be Tanya.
Breakfast for 1 at 9, please. Green figs, yogurt, coffee, very black. Thank you.
It's got a bit of like a Christian Bale look to him. Don't you think? It's quite an impressive set as well for such a test. Ah. Here comes Maud Adams, I believe, out of the closet. Should be Britt Eklund, no?
You look surprised to see me. I thought you were expecting me.
So you are Titania Romanova.
My friends call me Tanya.
Mine call me James Bond. Well, now that we've been properly introduced.
Guns upset me.
Sorry. You see, I'm a bit upset myself.
You look just like your photograph.
You look even better than yours. Much, much better. In fact, you're one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen.
Thank you. But I think my mouth is too big.
It's just the right size. For me, that is.
It's weird hearing that without the Sean Connery brogue on it. For me, that is.
Is it here?
What?
The decoding machine? The lector?
Oh, must we talk about that now?
Is it at the Russian consulate? Can you give me a plan of the consulate?
Why don't we talk about that later?
What are you looking for?
Scar.
Huh?
You see, I know all about you from your file.
I hope you're not disappointed.
I will tell you. In the morning.
There's a lot of Maud Adams in that to say that it's supposed to be the James Brolin screen test. Okay, so I know that this is a standard. Like, apparently, most every James Bond actor, as far as I'm aware, auditions with this scene. It shows sex appeal. There's a bit of mystery, intrigue, espionage in there. I guess it's an excuse to have the Bond walk around with his top off, because I guess there's, that kind of sex appeal from Bond as well. At the start of the clip, obviously, he's in the tuxedo. I wish we'd seen a bit more of him in that, actually. Like, he's not in it for long, but until you start getting undressed and everything. And God, yeah, I was really getting Christian Bale vibes from this. It's weird seeing this scene performed by an actor with an American accent. Like, even though it's not overt, I didn't find it too distracting. Though it would have felt weird if we'd have had American actor in the part not affecting some kind of a British accent. I don't know if maybe for the final thing they would have tried to play him as being British, but it's curious that they were so, at that point in the film series, that they were considering hiring an American actor. Obviously, they'd hired John Gavin another American actor around the time of Diamonds Are Forever, when it didn't look like Connery was going to come back. So they'd obviously toyed with this in the past, but now I think that the rule is pretty much, well, no, he has to be British. Yeah, interesting. But as far as the acting goes from Brolin, I thought he was really good. Like I say, I feel like Maud Adams maybe. I mean, Maud Adams is a very beautiful lady and she performs really well. But yeah, for the James Brolin screen test, I'm surprised that it's, you know, the James Brolin screen test starring Maud Adams. So now we come to the third test, which is obviously the VJ test, the one that we are all here for, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look.
That was a tough one. That was a tough one. And not just, I mean, sure, he's holding the snake, but the snake is pointed at me the whole time, if you notice. It always wanted to come out on my side. So it was not only a tough wrestling match, because there was a lot of outtakes where I'd end up grabbing the snake and stuffing it back in his arms.
You take English money?
Only gold sovereigns. Welcome to India, Commander Bond. I'm Vijay Sadruddin, Special Expeditor, Universal Exports.
Call me James.
No problem. Call me Vijay. Your luggage went ahead. I have a taxi waiting.
What have you found out about Kamal Khan?
Exiled African prince. Playboy mostly. Polo, cricket, tennis. I play a bit myself. God. Kamal lives lavishly. Claims to be an international art dealer. Dabbles in horse racing and gambling. This is impossible. He has political ambitions. He's very cozy with the Russians.
It's all beginning to make sense. Can I see him?
No problem. He plays backgammon at the Shianivas Club almost every afternoon. God, that's where he lives. The Monsoon Palace. It's very well guarded.
Can you get us into the backgammon club?
No problem. It's part of the hotel.
It's like
As
the
a guest,
most
Brolin, I
distracting thing. Why did they give him a snake
I'll see you
for this
there
scene?
later.
This is...
Well, I'll change it to something less casual.
I mean, maybe that's a great test for the actor, like, to perform this scene with this massive snake leering at you throughout the thing. That is quite nuts. But still, it's cool to see VJ in there. Again, though, it's quite much like how in the previous one they kept cutting to Maud Adams and that was distracting in itself. This is distracting on a whole other level, because it's like... What's the snake gonna do? I'm sorry, I really wasn't watching that for James Brolin, actually. That was all about, is that snake going to attack VJ? But I guess that the whole point of it really is to just have an exposition scene, a regular dialogue scene, because then you've got the love scene, you've got the ally scene, you've got the fight scene, and I guess from that you can then judge whether or not this actor should be James Bond or not. Again, the American accent... While noticeable, it wasn't as distracting as I thought it might be, so I do find that interesting. Overall, though, I can really see why they were courting him for the part. I think this is a very successful set of screen tests. So there we go. I'd love more potential Bond screen tests to be released sometime in the future. I think these are a super interesting peek into some kind of alternate universe where this actually happened. And my hang-ups about having an American accented Bond aside, these play really well. There's a smooth coolness to Brolin, but he still has that rough around the edges quality. He's very convincing in the fight scene. I've seen this actor in plenty of other things, and he's always a very solid, dependable presence. I don't think there's much doubt that he could have done it. But, personally, what can I say? I mean, Roger Moore is my favourite Bond, and Octopussy is a film that I love to bits, so I wouldn't want to change anything about it. So while I think these tests are cool, really interesting, Brolin does a great job, I'm still nonetheless happy that we ended up with Roger Moore back in the role for the 6th time. And I guess in a roundabout way, that means I have to be thankful to Kevin McClory for making Never Say Never Again as the catalyst for that. But, wow, what do you know? I didn't think I'd be waking up this day and talking about how thankful I am to Kevin McClory for anything, but here we are. So now that you've seen the screen tests as well, do you think Brolin could have pulled off the role? Do any of you wish that we'd have actually had him in the part instead of Roger Moore? It's really interesting to think about what kind of alternate timeline the series might have looked like had Brolin taken over the role from Moore. I mean, we almost certainly wouldn't have had Timothy Dalton for Living Daylights and License to Kill, so it's very interesting from that respect. How long would Brolin have lasted in the part? Who knows? Do let me know in the comments section below. Also below you can find links to my usual social media pages, my Facebook page, my Twitter page, and my Patreon page if you want to go one extra step in supporting this channel. Until next time, Bond fans, so long for now. Some of you may have noticed behind me, I have a Funko Pop now. I was, yeah, I feel like I should address this because I think I might have been somewhat derogatory about Funko Pops in the past. They are not my favourite thing, but as if they were testing me, they went and made a little Roger Moore Moonraker in the spacesuit with the little Moonraker laser one. And it's like, I don't believe that they necessarily just manufactured this to win me over, but I do have my suspicions nonetheless. So say hello to Moonraker Funko Pop. He's going to be in a lot of these videos from now on.